Hello and welcome to Web Relates. Today we're looking at the MaliciousCompliance subreddit. Our first story is by Wooden Ladder. Finance department at work held firm on max per day for meals while traveling. They messed with and denied me reimbursement for $30. Ended up costing them $750. Many years ago, during a corporate merger, I was responsible for transitioning a portion of business operations to a distant city. I was there for 4 weeks in an extended stay suite hotel with fridge and microwave. I had a meal allowance of $50 per day and was required to submit a weekly expense report with receipts for reimbursement. After a long day, all I wanted was to get comfy, chill out, and fix something in the room to eat. On day 1, I shopped at the local market spending $80, and day 4, $20. I submitted my weekly receipts for a total of $100, and was told I had exceeded the daily limit and my reimbursement would be $70 versus $100. Finance insisted that $50 per day in receipts is max they would pay, even as I pointed out that the total was less than a third of what I could have submitted. They stood firm and refused to budge from the daily max. At the time, my most favorite coffee beans were only available for purchase in coffee shops located in select areas of the country. As luck would have it, there was one close by. The name included cafe, as they also sold sandwiches, etc., and the receipt was not itemized. Yep, you guessed it. The last 3 weeks, I bought bags of coffee beans every single day. In their effort to short me $30, it ended up costing them $750. Classic example of a company being penny wise and pound foolish, and jerking employees around. In spite of incredibly attractive financial offers to relocate and remain with the company, I resigned once the transition was complete. Shortly thereafter, I ended up in my dream job for the next 25 years. My position was a new one and just beginning to emerge within the industry. As such, I had tremendous leeway in defining the role and budget. I was respected, my work was valued, and my professionalism and judgment were trusted. I've always been that way. You want to question and nickel and dime me over nonsense? I will respond likewise. If I receive respect and trust, I will have your back and will damn near kill myself delivering the best I have to offer. I'll adjust my schedule, burn the midnight oil, whatever it takes, all because I know that once we get through it, I'll take some time for myself and no one will question my schedule or work ethic. Our next story is by Go Nuts. Can't carry over one PTO day? See you in February. I worked for a 24-hour news organization, so someone needs to be in the studio at all times. As a staff monkey, I had things like PTO and vacation time, which I usually didn't use too often, but we were allowed to carry over 5 unused days each year, as long as we used those days in the first quarter of the following year. However, the end of the year is in high demand for off time because most people needed to burn unused vacation time that couldn't carry over. Management, wisely, makes sure everyone knows the policies and schedules December well in advance, so there aren't any last-minute converge issues around the holidays. Since I didn't use a lot of my PTO during the year, due to built-up comp time and overtime, I generally used it the week between Christmas and New Year's and took about 10 days off around then. One particular year, I had 6 days left, 1 extra day. But since I already took off the time between Christmas and New Year's already, there literally wasn't a day left for me to use as a day off, as no one was left to cover a shift if I were to take off. I went to the scheduler and management and asked for either a one-time exception to carry over the extra day, and I'd take it on January 2nd, extending off time by 1 day. No go. I didn't do it with the required notice. Or pay me 1 day's wages for the unused time. Also a hard no-go. Here's the malicious compliance. Since I had so much built-up PTO due to working holidays or comp time for overtime work, I had a ton of other days banked. Combining my already booked holiday break with my 5 carryover days, and the 10 new ones I got for the new year, plus some holidays that come in the early part of the year, I figured I was able to take enough time off that I would leave for my Christmas break on the 24th of December, and not return until the last week of February, nearly March. And since I did it with enough notice, they couldn't deny me. They now have to cover about 2 months of my shifts. The next day, I put my time off in the system and emailed the scheduler a note saying, "Have a great holiday, and I'll see you in March." The day following, I received a call from the VP of the department, asking me what they need to do. I said, simple, let me carry over my extra day. I will use it on Jan 2nd, and you have almost a month to cover 1 shift, and we're all good. I got the carryover day and used it. Our next story is by Undercover Union. Stay until it's done? Okay, I'm doing it by the book then, and getting an extra day off. I used to work as a supervisor in my last job, and was directly working with a union. Some of my managers really didn't want to deal with things when it came to workplace injuries, so I had to deal with most of them. If you have worked with a union before, this is a very long and time-consuming process. While important, very tedious. So that brings us to that one evening. I was on my second double in a row of 3, and very much ready to go home. As I wrapped up my area, my evening manager texted me to assist another supervisor with an injury. The supervisor was newer and needed to be taught. I informed them that I was already there on a double, and needed to come back on the morning, and was there anyone else, or could they help them? This manager, who was notorious for passing their work on others, he texted me no, and I had to stay until it was done. Okay, I have written documentation of a directive. Who am I to say no? All right, well then, since I'm teaching, I'm going by the book. I opened up the union and company policy on workplace incidents, and followed it step by step. By the time we got to the drug test portion, the local clinic we used was closed, and we needed to call it in. This is important because if you don't use the local clinic, the out-of-area one takes 4+ hours to come out. While that was processing, I did a lengthy investigation with the union. I spent the entire night going by the book, taking pictures and documenting everything I could. By the time I finished and the drug test finished, it was 7 a.m. and my shift started in 30 minutes. This is the time the morning manager came in. They are one of my favorites and why I pick up mornings all the time. When she saw me, she said, "Oh, you're in early?" I said, "I never left." Her face dropped, because they have a rule that while management, including supervisors, can work more than 16 hours, if they work more than 20 hours, they need a 24-hour rest. I wasn't in the union, but still hourly salaried, and got overtime over 8 hours in a day. So not only was I going to not be able to make my morning shift, I couldn't make my evening shift either. I was still going to be paid for both, while being sent home. She asked me who told me to do this, and I showed her the message from the evening manager telling me to stay until it is finished. I went home and enjoyed my extra day off into the weekend. When I came back, I had an interview about the incident with the senior manager. After showing my messages, which the manager tried to delete but only did on his side, I was dismissed without any issues. The manager was written up by the senior manager, and they had to pay me my 2 regular shifts plus 24 hours of overtime. Needless to say, I stopped picking up after that, no matter how much they begged. Our next story is by Kilted Turtle. Can't carry overtime to the next year? Okay, that works. To add to the vacation day theme of the week, I worked at a company that had a lot of people that had worked a long time there. It was pretty common for new chemistry or chemical engineering grads to come in as their first job after college. At 20 years, they got 6 weeks, 30 days of vacation. Some people liked to work and simply rolled vacation days into the next year. The max you could ever carry over was 45 days. At some point, some bean counter figured out that the 45 days were a liability to the company. If you are selling a chunk of a company off, and those people have 6 weeks of vacation and another 9 weeks in the bank, that's 15 weeks of time that the new owner could be on the hook for. So they decided and put out a proclamation that there would be no carryover from one year to the next. Much unhappiness swept through the company. Lots of people tried to plan how they were going to use it. One of the key people I worked with came up in October and said they are going on vacation, and how much they liked working with me, which was kind of odd, so I pressed a little on why this sounded like a forever goodbye, and not a see you in a week. So I got told, under strict confidence, that they had found a new job. New job started in 2 weeks. They had enough vacation days to cover them to Jan 1st, and the next year's vacation and holidays covered the first 2 months of the following year. So they were done. I wished them well, and they were gone. But they were not as good as I am in keeping secrets. There were suddenly a number of key people, also with 6 weeks vacation and large vacation bank, that were gone. Lots of unhappy people in HR. HR could not say no to the closeout vacations, since they had decreed the rollover freeze. But HR decreed, you must return to work to be able to collect the vacation in the next year. Turns out most of the people got jobs in very cool companies. They all scheduled a vacation day so they could come back to work for a day. They came back en masse. Co-workers scheduled them all into meetings, so they had things to do on the day. It was mostly a party day with an all-day food fest. As an added bonus, senior management had indeed planned to split off a division, and the sale fell through because of all the people that had bailed out. Good for them. The company tried to screw them over. It's only right that they get screwed over in turn. That's the end of the video for today, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe. And then I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.